Hey everyone, I wanted to make a video, which I have not covered in a while, talking about loss and how to apply unconditional life acceptance, because it's primarily life acceptance, when people pass away, whether it has happened already or whether it's a fear of it happening. A lot of people have fears of, and then you can have the fears of losing control with harm OCD if you're responsible, or you could have done something in the past. It's all primarily the same thing. There is a level of unconditional self-acceptance that's needed when the self is involved. But I want to talk about how I've applied unconditional life acceptance to losing my father, coming up here on 6 years ago soon, to stage 4 pancreatic cancer, which had metastasized to his liver. He died at 60. The same cancer which killed my dad's girlfriend at the same age a couple years later. So that was really sad. They were really kind of they were together a lot, both worked at the same law firm. It was really, really sad. And, you know, if you look at my dad's girlfriend's children, they were adopted from China, and they lost my father, who was like a second father figure, because she was divorced. They lost her mother, okay, to cancer. And then before, not in that range of when my dad died, when they died, their father, who was supposed to come and pick them up, I believe for a baseball game, never showed up and had died. I think believed it at his death from a heart attack. So they lost all family figures in their life, which is really, really, really sad. And I want to talk about how I've applied acceptance to that scenario, why it's so important to continue practicing acceptance to this day, and why the realities of life are that, you know, it's really binary. There's 3 options, but the third one doesn't really happen, where you die together. Car accidents, plane crashes, etc. So either you die before your parents or they die before you. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this. This is not an easy topic to cover, whether you've lost a parent or both. I've met people around my age, mid-30s. I remember being in Cairo school. There was a guy who lost both of his parents. I think he was 38. He was a little bit older at the time, but still lost both of his parents. And yeah, so it's definitely not easy. I know people who have lost their, you know, I have numerous friends who have died from, you know, taking their lives to overdoses. And, you know, the parents have to live with that forever. I know I had a childhood friend where his brother found him, oh my gosh, it's about a year ago now. His brother found him dead on the toilet from an overdose. So, and my ex-girlfriend, the girl who I lost my virginity to, she died of a heroin overdose. My neighbor died of a heroin overdose that I was close with back home. I used to work out with when I was, you know, 20 to 25 years old. Yeah. So I've been around death. I've been around overdoses. It's been a while, but I had a multi-year stretch where I knew someone who died every month at least for a couple of years. And my wife was like, this is crazy. So yeah. Okay. A personal philosophy that I like to live by is sticking as close as I can to the realities of life. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean that this doesn't come with a host of different emotions. And I'm not saying this is easy. So I've done this before. That line is what I consider reality. Okay. Because this you could actually debate everything I'm saying. So in that line, you know, we have death. We have different people. So differing political, religious, money views. We have culture. You know, you can move somewhere. Like if I move to Dubai tomorrow, it's a completely different culture than New Jersey. I can try to fight that culture, but it's an uphill battle. So there's things in life that just are, whether you like it or not, okay? One day we all die that we know of. Now, again, the reason why you could debate this is you can go into these deep philosophical conversations about existentialism, solipsism, are we already in the simulation, are all of you fake and I'm the only one, etc. But for simplicity, we're going to keep it to this. I believe the further you go away from this line, this is where problems arise. Okay? So you have the death, differing opinions, you have problems, and then over here, I mean, you have culture, and then you have problems. So the further you move away from that line, the bigger problems that you have in your life. Okay? So what are problems that happen? Actually, I'm going to draw this another way. I'm going to just move the line over a little bit. So that would be the middle line right there. And we're going to come all the way out in this space. So this is where shoulds, musts, oughts, terrible, very rigid statements happen way out here. Okay? So that shouldn't happen. I don't deserve this. Oh yeah, deserving this. So deserving this and fairness. Now, you know, some people enjoy when I speak to them in a very matter-of-fact way. I've had people say that to me over the years. They say, look, I came to you, not that everyone does it, Mom and Rob, we all do it, but for some reason, maybe my older videos, my personality traits, they thought that I would tell them exactly how it is. And I have a good eye for knowing who I could probably do this to, especially if they ask. So I say, there is no universal law that says you cannot get mowed down in a shooting. That sucks. But it's the reality of life. You're not owed life at all. Because you're here right now, and the only thing you really know is your conscious awareness, you believe cold-heartedly that you deserve to be here, that you deserve to outlive your parents, that you deserve to save for retirement, and then nothing go wrong. Yellow, the bus company, 30,000 employees, they went bankrupt last year, a year and a half ago, all the pensions gone. Not saying I agree with that. Enron was another one, right? In the dot-com bubble, people lost multi-million-dollar pensions, gone. At 60, right when you think life was about to have the fruitions of life and retirement, cut short. Think about kids who die of cancer. This doesn't mean I'm not sympathetic, compassionate, and have empathy for that. A lot of the things I watch that Rob and I send me back and forth, it brings tears to my eyes. Shit, I was watching The Martian last night and started tearing eyes when they caught Matt Damon. Because I'm a loser. If I watch Titanic, I'm balling. It's over, without a doubt. So, but I do think it's important to understand the realities of life, which means I died before my father dies before me. Now, I was with my father before he died, the day before. He died, I believe, at 2:30 in the morning. And then I was with his body the day before the day they cremated him, which was a very unique experience. Tried to hold his hand. He had been, I think, dead now for a day, or, you know, rigor mortis had set in. I tried to open his hand. It just was, I mean, I had worked in the cadaver lab when I was in grad school for 18 months, so I was a little bit more desensitized to death in human bodies than most people, I would say, are. I think anyone who's worked in the cadaver lab could say the same thing. Even though my father meant a lot to me, seeing him on the gurney dead with that purple blanket that he loved on top of him, even though I had much more of a personal connection, I had just been working with numerous dead bodies. So I had, like I said, it didn't affect me as much, more than likely. But that doesn't mean I didn't bury it and not talk about it, which was a problem. I think that was a really big problem. So when I looked at the belief about why shouldn't my dad die before me? Or did my dad have to be a little bit more present in my life? Because he was an attorney and he was never home. I had a terrific childhood for the most part. Everyone can have something, you know, that they can complain about. But for the most part, you know, I had a terrific childhood. But my father wasn't around a lot. Didn't go to any of my games, baseball games, football games, or sporting events. I got in a lot of trouble and I was arrested a lot when I was younger. So I wasn't the easiest person to deal with. And he probably went to work to do what people do when they go to work. They have a self-fulfilling prophecy, you want to call it, or a mission that they want to have. Again, I don't believe in universal purpose. I just believe in the person finding something and then going with it. And he probably felt not as bothered during the years of me being 14 to 25 because I got in so much trouble. And I got expelled from high school my freshman year. I had to go to a private school. They asked me to not come back. DUI, multiple arrests, drinking in the car, fighting, constantly being kicked out of places, stealing money, lying all the time. I mean, I was a tough person to be around. So angry a lot, manipulative, deceptive, lots of drug usage. So no wonder why he didn't want to be there. So I can't just blame him for that. And then when he died, it didn't really hit me for a little bit because I went back to grad school. I put my head down. And then it just was a stroke of luck. It was very awkward. 90 kids in my chiro class. we were talking about, in the psychology class, about how to work with patients who are being co-managed, maybe with a cancer diagnosis, or they have another severe illness. And then we talked about death. Maybe you have two patients, husband and a wife, and the patient dies, the husband, and then you still treat the wife for maintenance care. And then, and then you have to figure out how to, properly handle that situation, which you can't learn that in a book. You just have to do it. And I remember it hit me like a wave, and I put my hood up, and I remember walking out of class, and I could feel everyone looking at me, and I just went for a walk. I also remember that the day I got to school because it was actually spring vacation, and we came back, and that Monday or Tuesday we came back, I opened up the door, and I opened it, and I was late. And everyone, when people do this, like the whole class at once, they're like, and then they looked down, and then they all wrote me a card, which I thought was really, really nice. And that was really fucking tough. But it's part of life. I don't deserve to have a father. I don't deserve to have a mother, in that sense. There's benefits to having a lot of things in your life, but I don't need those things. And that's how I broke that down. And I didn't, grieve, I guess. The word grieve just means accept. That's all grieving means. Acceptance is another term for acceptance. When you accept something, you have a natural grieving process. But if grief goes into chronic depression and anger about how life treated you, we have a problem with the belief system and the behaviors. But we're primarily talking about the beliefs. And it's not easy to this day. I will get reminders of my father and cry. I mean, I'm a human, right? Things happen. Sometimes I don't think about my dad at all for 6 months, even though I wear all of his rings. This was his wedding ring. So, and then I have this other ring that my mom loves to talk about that she got for him that he never wore. And my mom was like, he took this wedding ring off the day that we got married. My dad was an odd guy, to say the least. And, I look at those rings every day, but I don't think about my father consciously. So, that's just because of my acceptance process. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's really important that, this book right here, if you're really struggling with death, really taking your time to do that. If you have any questions, please let me know what you think. Always willing to talk about this stuff. I know it's not easy for people who have lost children or children and family and parents, etc. But we're here to help, and we can help you break down your belief systems. And then that gives you access to the WhatsApp groups, and you don't feel so alone. So thank you again. Look for that direct message WhatsApp link down below, and we hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.